Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Luke Cage. This is a figure I've been excited for a little while now because I love Luke Cage, but I haven't been able to get a figure, I should say, that I can add into the collection. So getting one here now makes me so happy, and I cannot wait to get this guy out of the box. But before we do, let's take a look at the box. And one of the first things you will notice about the box today is we are back to window packaging. Oh my gosh, I am so happy. I can look at the figure now before I buy it. It's not a guessing game of what's inside. It's great. I love it so much. On the side of the box, we have a picture of Luke Cage. That same image is here on the back. My light is obscuring it a little bit. You have a little description there. I don't know if you can read it if you pause. There you go. If you wanted to read it, pause it. Of course, this is from Mindless One Build-A-Figure. I don't plan on finishing this out. I don't know. I'm probably going to get Blade and maybe that Daredevil, and I'll review those. Everything else, completely up to whether or not you guys would want to see that. That same image on the side. Get the same image that was on the back on this other side here. Luke Cage logo at the top. Just some legal stuff at the bottom. So with all that out of the way, let's get this guy opened up. So getting Luke Cage out of the package, I'm going to go over accessories first because he doesn't have many. He does come with these. Dropped one. He does come with these open hands. They're good for grabbing, not much else. But it's better than having none, I have to admit. It's better than having none, you know? This figure does have some glaring problems and disappointing aspects about him. But if you just get this figure, pose him up on your shelf, like I had him, or even if you just want him standing there like this, he does the job. But if you wanted him to lift something above his head, you might be running into some troubles. Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't just seal this off at all. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And really that and the lack of an ab crunch, because this wouldn't be so bad having it on a ball joint if that ball joint allowed him to move very much, but it doesn't. It's just very restrictive. He's like, the furthest he can go down is what I'm showing you here. I'm holding his legs straight. That's the most he's going to look down. So, same with going back. He really just, there's not a lot of wiggle room, which is very upsetting to me, because I really wanted to love this figure. It was one of my most anticipated releases, and then we have this problem here, and I get why you might not want to have an ab crunch on this, because it's going to be a lot more noticeable. You'd have to cut the shirt, and really he looks good like this in this pose. The yellow, I do have to say off camera, it's a lot deeper, darker yellow. If you own this AI Iron Man, it matches that color in person. At least it matches it somewhat. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed in some aspects, but if you don't want to get this guy, does sound like there is some rumor we will be getting a 2-pack later this year with him and an updated Iron Fist. This is the Toy Biz one. I don't think it scales particularly well. I could be wrong about that, though, but I feel like he should just be a little bit taller, you know? But yeah, if we could get a 2-pack where they fix the issues on this Luke Cage, get us a new updated Iron Fist, because in this suit specifically, because this is, to my knowledge, our only way to get this outfit for him, that would be great. Yeah, I do really like a lot of the detailing on here. I think it looks like a very clean figure when this isn't sticking out. But then you notice it. I'm stumbling over my words, and it takes me back out of looking at it. So that is a major flaw for me personally. But other than that, like the head sculpt, fantastic. I think this this looks, to me, it's a little more glossy on camera than it really is for, like, when I'm looking at it. This, to me, looks like Luke Cage pulled off of the panel and brought to what he would look like in the real world. So, I'm very happy with that. I do also like how his, what would you call this? Headband? Whatever it is. I like how it, like, dents in the hair, too. Like, you could have just put that over it, whatever, or made it flush, but they didn't. It actually looks like a separate piece. You know, it hangs off just a little bit there. It looks separate, which makes that really fun. But since I started talking about articulation, maybe we should look at the rest of the articulation on this guy. So his head can only look up that far. But when you want him to look down, he will look down. But sadly, I would prefer it if I could get him looking up more, so I could get him really, like, bent over, you know, in a fighting pose. I also would have preferred more angry face, you know, one where he's kind of snarling or just looks really mad. Because to me here, it looks a little too emotionless, a little too mannequin-esque. Which on some characters can be fine, but for Luke Cage, you know, I want to pose him up for fighting, and I feel like I would have to have him turned around, but if I turn him around, I get those holes in the jacket. And I hear that those might be there for Blade. If they are, if it's black on black, I'm not going to have near as much of a problem as I do with bright yellow on a dark brown, because that's really noticeable. But you can get him into a nice little T-pose here. You don't really have to, like... I will say, this figure does feel very buttery smooth. Like, I'm not having a lot of issue getting the joints to move about. There's a little bit of a... I don't know if you can hear that. There's a squeak there that does bug me a little bit, but it's not super noticeable. He also has the double-jointed elbows. His wrists do a full 360 turn, and of course have the up and down motion there. That goes for both sets of hands. Now I showed you how his waist moved already, so I'm just going to skip past that. His legs kick up that far. Thigh cut. Double jointed knee. He does not have a shin cut, sadly. I think that would have been a really good spot to implement it, but it's alright. His foot kicks out that far. Kicks up that high, and he has some nice little ankle pivot going on. So yeah, to me, my biggest complaint with this guy is that just that articulation and those spots under his shoulders. Because when you have him posed like this, he's looking really good. It's really hard to notice those, except for when I turn him like that. But, like, even there, his jacket almost needs to be spread out more so it can cover those spots. So I do have that really being my only big major issue with it. So take that for what you will. Let's get a quick height comparison here. So here he is next to a standard 6-inch Marvel Legend. We have the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, and he does stand a little taller, and I like that. I like that a lot. But we still need... Alright, that makes Iron Fist look like he's the same height. He's not. Iron Fist, I don't think he's that short, is he? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But he feels way too short right there. So I hope we get that updated. I hope we can get that fixed later this year. But for now, that's all we have. Yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed. I do like this figure. I don't want that to be misconstrued, but there are problems with it. I would say probably wait for it to go on a discount. And for my score, I will give it a solid... you know what? I think we're going to have to put it at a 4.5 out of 10. Now, that's not to say it's bad. 5 is mediocre. 5 is, right there in the middle. He is not right there in the middle. He's pretty well under. because of stuff like the jacket tear and no proper waist articulation. If it had those, he'd probably be a solid 6 from me. But with those problems, it brings it down just enough. So buy at your own risk. I would recommend waiting for a sale on this guy. Unless you have a gift card and you're wanting to use it up, then get him. But yeah, with all that said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.